Some more details have emerged on the Jose Berrios move, and it's not pretty, so look away, Jays fans. Apparently, James Click was involved in the decision, and he had a big part as to why Jose Berrios was pulled in the fourth inning against the Minnesota Twins. I don't know who got that information. I don't know where they got it from. Might have been Ross Atkins, so I'll break that down and much more in this episode of Jays Digest. What's up, Jays fans? I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, alongside host Nick Gosse. I've got some more details emerging on the Jose Berrios front here. I can't believe we're still talking about this. I can't believe more wrinkles are getting revealed as we go along here, but that's been the case. And apparently, James Click, a guy who we were clamoring to take over the GM job just a couple of days ago, was the one solely involved in the decision when it comes to front office executives and representatives. So I don't know. I really don't know what to believe anymore. All I know is that this whole situation, the lack of trust between John Schneider and Ross Atkins, the lack of conviction in the presser by Ross Atkins himself. I mean, it's just a bunch of high school drama surrounding one of the more illustrious baseball teams in all of Major League Baseball. Let's call it what it is. I mean, the Jays are one of the better organizations, or supposed to be one of the better organizations in the MLB. And now they're just looking like a bunch of teenagers pointing the finger here. And it's just not a good look for anybody. It's embarrassing as a Jays fan, and it should be embarrassing if you're even part of the Jays organization right now.
Yeah, and Peter, tomorrow the Mark Shapiro interview or the press conference is happening, and things just keep getting worse for the Blue Jays. We're gonna break that all down. But before we do, make sure to hit the subscribe button. About 73% of you guys aren't subscribed, and we're on the road to 10,000, so it would mean a lot if you hit that button. Now, Peter, we have a lot of juicy stuff to get into. I'm curious to see what you think about all this. And I figured that the news would have died down up until tomorrow when Shapiro comes out. And no one knows what Shapiro is going to say, whether he's going to reveal more information, not going to talk about it at all, if he's just going to talk about some upcoming Rogers Center renovations. We're unsure. But here is where the news stems from. So it's from Blair-Barker on their show. Obviously, they have a radio show. They're super involved with the team. Whether they have sources, that's up to you to believe or not. But they go on to say, we're hearing that James Click was involved in the Jose Berrios decision. Jeff Blair reports, while it's unclear exactly how controversial the Brios polling came about, a whispering campaign has a vice president baseball strategist, James Click, is being involved. So, Peter, I guess it is a whispering campaign, whatever that is. Is that Ross Atkins? Is Ross Atkins the whispering campaign? I wouldn't think so. However, it might be someone, and most likely someone who's involved with the team that, knows where this came from. But, Peter, we have another screenshot we'll get into after we discuss this a little bit. But for all of you guys who are unfamiliar with James Click, I'll just give you a little, very, very brief timeline. February 27th, 2023, he was hired as the team's vice president of baseball strategy after he was fired by the Houston Astros. And he wasn't fired for any crazy reason. He wanted a raise. The Astros wouldn't give him a raise, so he ultimately left. And he came in with the Blue Jays, and he's also being pursued by the Mets. So now that housekeeping is out of the way with James Click, Peter, I know a lot of Jays fans wanted James Click, and us included to a degree. At least if Ross Atkins gets fired, we have someone who's kind of already in place, who has experience with an Astros team who is very, very, a very, very good team, illustrious team. However, if he was involved in the decision, does that change your opinion on maybe Ross Atkins, as well as whether you'd want him with the team as the general manager?
No, I mean, he's the vice president of baseball strategy, so maybe he should be involved in some of these on-field decisions.
Yeah.
That's his title. I mean, what else is he there to do if he's not involved in the actual baseball strategy? So, sure, whatever. He was involved in that. Now, how did Jeff Blair get that information? That's what I want to know.
Whispering
Was
campaign.
Ross Atkins the one? Was Ross Atkins the one feeding that to him as well, so he can avoid some more blame over here? I don't understand how more just keeps getting revealed on this. Well, why are we still talking about this? We're over a week later now that this happened, and it's still a topic of conversation. It just makes no sense to me. No, my opinion on Ross Atkins has not changed whatsoever. You could tell me a new detail tomorrow, or Mark Shapiro could reveal some new details tomorrow, and I still wouldn't be happy about it. What he did was inexcusable: to throw his manager under the bus and to not take any sort of accountability for the team that he had a huge part in building. Just makes no sense to me. So if Ross Atkins wants to point the finger, he can do that all he wants, but he should maybe build a better team for not taking any blame. Because, yeah, we were all excited about the players that he brought in. We were all excited about the collection of talent that was put together on this group, but it just wasn't good enough. They fell flat on their faces, and that has a lot to do with Ross Atkins. I think he's got a lot of say when it comes to pulling the trigger on deals, on free agent signings, and all that, and didn't work out. He built a loser of a team. He built a loser. It's that simple, and now he just keeps pointing the finger. I think his job is in jeopardy, and he's got to stop with all that before he digs himself an even deeper grave.
Peter, you're coming out bold today. No, I agree. And I mean, like you said, it's happened now for over a week. And the reason we're still talking about it is because somehow, some way, more information keeps coming out. And it goes back to what you just said. Someone is leaking this information. We don't know who it is. It could be Ross Atkins, which would be even weirder. And if it ends up that Ross Atkins did give Blair this information, that should be the nail in the coffin for him because, it's alongside his coworker. You don't want to reveal that. But I agree. It doesn't change my opinion on James Click very much. Obviously, if he had a say in this decision, you might question why they made the decision, but that is kind of his role, his baseball strategy. So it's not super surprising that James Click was involved in the decision, though I know a lot of Jays fans out there probably didn't realize that James Click, maybe they weren't familiar with his position or weren't familiar with what he, does with the team. But at the end of the day, I think the bigger issue here is, but the Brios decision aside, it's the way Ross Atkins handled the situation. We've been talking about this for a while. So that's the biggest issue here. The Brios decision itself, you could say it was fireable. Whether that is true or not, that's still up in the air. But any quick thoughts on this before we move on to something else, which is juicy from Blair-Barker?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I want to say this. Yeah, I don't think my opinion on James Click is going to change here just because, yeah, this was like the original plan that they put into place. But according to Ross Atkins, I mean, it was John Schneider's move. So
Yeah.
John Schneider was the one that decided to go through with it. I'm sure they had a bunch of different contingency plans going forward there. But yeah, I mean, I guess that was their plan. Second time through the order to pull Jose Berrios once the lefties were to come up. Makes sense. And then go to someone else in the bullpen. But John Schneider was the one that pulled the trigger and actually made that move in game. So I don't know. I feel like this is kind of getting a little overblown now. Maybe there were a lot of voices involved in the decision, but we've had time to get over it now. It's been over a week, and the Jays didn't score any runs, and we're watching other teams in the playoffs absolutely go off offensively. We're watching them just really come into their own, and there's no way that the Blue Jays would have been able to compete with any of those teams. So I'm over it. I mean, I just want to move on to next season. I want to move on to the moves that they're going to make in this offseason as well. And I'm excited to get some baseball going when spring training rolls around. But I think I think we're beating a dead horse at this point because Ross Atkins should be gone, John Schneider should be gone, and that's the end of the story for me.
Yeah, the unfortunate truth is, until one of those guys do get fired, I suspect that this, by Jay's reporters, are gonna keep getting blown up. And I'm hoping that Shapiro puts some sort of wrap on this situation, whether that's letting go of Ross Atkins, letting go of someone, because by having John Schneider on the team alongside Ross Atkins, it's just such a weird scenario right now. And this came out, you can pause and read it if you want, but essentially they're wondering and they've heard that there might be a scenario where Atkins and John Schneider can continue to work together, which, Peter, I'm sure you're not happy or pleased to hear about. But he also said the guys outline, the players that is, had there were some whispers of dissatisfaction throughout the entire season talking to some of the players. So, Peter, that is very, very interesting. They also go on to say, well, they wonder what Mark Shapiro will say and do on Thursday when he is scheduled to speak to the media. And that's obviously, tomorrow's going to reveal a lot of information. Hopefully it reveals more so about what's going to be, the plan is for getting off-season players going forward, because that's the conversation where it's going to start to go. And this is kind of, hopefully tomorrow is going to be the nail in the coffin for this. But until John Schneider or Ross Atkins, preferably Ross Atkins at this point, are let go, I don't know. But there seems to be some dissatisfaction between the players throughout the season. Is that attributed to Ross Atkins himself, maybe the coaching staff, or do you think it was just because maybe they were underperforming? So I'm sure when players are underperforming, stuff always ends up going badly.
Yeah, I think it's just because they were underperforming, if I'm being honest. I mean, just look at their playoff numbers. They couldn't get anything going. A lot of guys were really down on their career numbers as well. So you're not happy. You're not happy when you don't play well, but I think a lot of them got a reality check as well. They came into the season a little bit too confident,
Yeah.
and the spring training documentaries, the this is going to be a movie, the quotes, like it was just too much for my liking for a team that had proved nothing over the past couple of years. They had all the pieces in place theoretically. Like they have a good team on paper, but they just again they fell flat on their faces, and they got to step it up. I mean, George Springer was brought here as a playoff guy, and he's got a career OPS under 600 in the playoffs. I know it's a small sample size as a Blue Jay, but his OPS is below 600
As a Blue
as a
Jay.
Blue Jay in the playoffs. As a Blue Jay, yes, he's won a World Series MVP. That's why they brought him in here, to be that vet, to be the MVP of the team, and he's been anything but that in the past year and a half here. Vladdy, obviously, we know the story there. Same thing with Bo. I mean, guys just have to get better, and it's going to be a long off season of a lot of hard work. You would hope so, at least, and see what happens next year. I mean, I think they were disappointed because of the underperformance of the players and their teammates as well. But there was also a lot of underperforming out of the coaching staff too, and that can't be a good thing for the players either. They weren't happy with anything on the team.
Yeah, no, I agree. And hopefully that the team can make some changes going forward. But that'll wrap it up. Tomorrow is the Mark Shapiro kind of, press conference thing. So I'm sure we'll have maybe some semblance of what our payroll is going to look like. Shapiro usually talks about that at the Rogers Center. And hopefully this is the last time, or most likely tomorrow will be the last time we had to talk about this Atkins situation, so we can just put it to bed and focus on the upcoming season. But who knows if Shapiro's going to say anything, or if he's going to, use his classic words where, all the, sugar coating words. But that'll wrap up the video. Peter, any quick final thoughts before we buckle up for one more video today? And then tomorrow is kind of the big day before it feels like we can finally start our off season tomorrow and put all this to bed.
I hope so. I hope he says something. I mean,
Me
if
too.
you want to talk renovations, I'm sure you'll hear a lot about that tomorrow. But let's hope that Mark Shapiro puts this whole situation to
I
bed,
agree.
addresses the
I
drama,
agree.
addresses
Me
the
too.
elephant in the room, and just ends it all, and drops a bomb on us tomorrow. So I'm hoping for that. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it, and we'll see you later.
See you tomorrow for the coverage and later today for a video. Cheers.